It is Friday night, it is Nova Scotia, it is indeed Friday. It's dismal around these parts, to be honest with you. The summer promised so much, and then this morning I'm in the cupboard looking for a jumper. That has been the direction of travel, and that's what we're going to have to put up with. We're in Nova Scotia.
And what a jumper!
I was just about to say, boy, did you find the jumper?
You didn't have to look for long for that. It was at the back of the cupboard going, Neil!
Yeah, it's got a lot going on, but it's nice to at least get to wear it. I'll get about London 2 run out between now and basically when it goes back into the loft. We are with Erdinger. We're delighted to be with Erdinger as well. It is this Friday night after the calm of Jurgen moving on. He's done a little Instagram post about it earlier today, where he's still trying to process his emotions, off to play paddle, which I'm bang into.
It looked nice wherever he was, didn't it, as well?
Definitely Spain.
It definitely wasn't
Spain, was it?
Spain. It wasn't Speak. Not today.
Definitely not Speak.
So he's getting himself set up there to go and play paddle, which somewhat there'll be paddle enthusiasts here. To me, just looks like beach ball. Do you remember beach ball when you used to go like the
with like
bats?
Yeah.
And then the ball, that's what it looks like.
Do you know who else loves paddle? Stormzy.
The Stormzy love
Stormzy,
paddle.
like whenever he does like a here's a day in my life on tour, he's like, and I always have to find someone to go and play paddle, which I think is so specific, but he loves it.
It just doesn't, I mean, there will be paddle enthusiasts who'll be watching this. Why not Royal Tennis? That's what I want to know.
Squash. Whatever happened to squash?
I think squash is just too intense, too indoors.
I was going to say, it's very indoorsy, isn't it?
Yeah,
squash?
It's very indoors, lots of swearing. Anyway, he's processed, and when I play it, he's processed the way in which he's going about it. The new fella was at Kirby and at Anfield. Kev, I'm going to keep saying it. It's important he uses this time, the new fella, to get himself in, get himself settled, because we need him to know exactly what he's about. I think he's formally the 1st of June. He's lost 4 coaches. He's 4 coaches down on par. He's bringing 3 with him. He's got 4 more who've left. There's loads and loads of work to do, and I don't mean that in a crass way. I back Liverpool in him to do it, but they've got to crack on. He's got to start soon.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. Also, no disrespect to Feyenoord, but there's just no way since the moment he found out he had the Liverpool job that hasn't been first and foremost in his mind. Obviously, he'll have been doing the job professionally for Feyenoord, but it's the Liverpool Football Club, do you know what I mean? When we come
biggest job of his life.
Well, 1,000,000% it's the biggest job he'll ever have, because where else do you go, do you know what I mean? Even if you get like a Real Madrid or something, the Liverpool manager job is bigger than a Real Madrid manager, because they last 15 minutes, you can last 15 years here, and you can make yourself statue worthy within 15 minutes, depending on if you hit the ground running and comes out and slags Pickford or something, do you know what I mean? Just start
I'll be watching this using that time. Maybe who is?
What is a Pickford? But yeah, I've got no doubt he's probably had his like when I used to do interviews before there's a driving instructor, and they asked you for your 30-day, 60-day, 90-day plan. I bet he's halfway through his 30-day plan already. He's got in and he's known exactly what he's all about. He's been in meeting Caroline, whatever the names are, the girls at Melbourne.
Oh, he knows.
Well, he will do by now, yeah. The girls at Kirby, so I reckon that's what he'll just been getting settled in, going, yeah, go on, I know now what it looks like when I'm physically here as well, because that's important, isn't it?
It's mad though, isn't it, how, like, obviously it's not like any other job in the world, but it is exactly the same as starting any job, that you can't just turn up on the first day of the transfer window and go, right, so you start today, or just on the first day of the season and then go, right, now we're getting things going. You do have to kind of, like, learn where the toilets are, say hello to everyone, make sure that, you know, your office is all set up, I don't know, learn the fucking software or whatever it is, but you need to...
Especially if you're the man, you're supposed to be the manager, you're supposed to be the boss, so if you're still looking for the light switch and things, it's not going to go that way.
It's not a good look, they won't respect you.
No.
But it is important, that bit of it, Emilia. I'll say again, you know, you think about the fact that the conditioning coach has gone, but we need to get another one of them. You go down the list, he's got to sort, and also, he's almost got to have that sorted out by, I think, the 3rd of June. You know, he starts on the 1st, but him and his team have then got to start playing pre-season, all the training, all the bits and pieces from the 1st of July. He might get a couple of days holiday, but to the point of it's the biggest job of his life, I don't think he'll be that desperate for it. I think he'll want to know everything that he's up to from minute one.
Well, I think one of the things about that very long goodbye, which I wasn't in the ground for the last game, I was watching it at home, and my God, did it feel long, and I completely understand why they did it.
I was in the ground and it was
long. And I thought you probably couldn't even hear what they were saying, but like I understand why Klopp wanted to make sure that every single person got their moment and was thanked to kind of say this wasn't just about me, it was about everyone. But the one thing that it did make me think was, this is a lot of people that are going, you know, this is, you know, even people that have been so integral in what's happened over the last decade, and I think that made me go, yeah, there's a lot of work to do actually, not just in terms of players, but and any changes he might want to make. He's got to bring in a whole new staff, and that is going to take time.
He's going to want to get the ones he wants as well, and he's got to therefore work with everyone else at Liverpool as part of that. You've got to understand what the roles are. You know, I really don't think you can overstate how important that task is. He's got a month here with no footballers, and that's a precious time, because the point is, the job of everyone he brings in is to make the footballers as good as possible. That's going to be their job. There's never be more their job. He is head coach. That's the bit he's got to get right. And I think, Pete, it's a bit of a funny time, this, because for us it feels like dead time. I don't think we're going to get any news on anything before he's formally announced on June the 1st. Before he, at least as the first video, the first press conference, I don't think we're going to get a new contract. We're not going to get a thing. Everything's going to be quiet. But that doesn't mean he isn't working now. The formal first day might be the 1st of June, but everything they do now matters so much for what goes forward.
No, it certainly does, and it's that little rumour of him being at the training ground is reassuring to me, just because I want to know that there's something is happening. And obviously they're not going to officially announce it until they do, because that's how it all works now. And the way we work here is we're always a respectful football club, but he's a foreign manager as well, so he's coming in, he's got a summer, so even though it is an international tournament year, he has still got a summer. Jurgen Klopp didn't have a summer, he come in October. What I don't want is from Arne Slot is in 6 months' time saying, well, he didn't anticipate how the FA Cup would go, or how Christmas would go, and how this period would go. He's got to be on top.
I've got a schedule in my pocket if he wants it.
He should be looking
not
up.
show him your schedule, mate. He'll be on the first plane back to today.
He should be looking up Neil Atkinson. He should be looking up Phil Blundell's schedule of the Champions League and how it all works. He should know absolutely everything, because he's got no excuse now. He's got all this time in front of him without players, with players waiting for them. So for me personally, he's got to be doing everything possible to get the right people in.
I'm loath to call the two teams I'm about to mention rivals, or even three, because they're all the same sort of category as far as I'm concerned. So you've got the hugely respectable Brighton and Hove Albion, who run a football club brilliantly. You've got Chelsea, who finished the season strongly, and you've got Manchester United, who are an absolute bag of shite, Pete. But they're all in this situation where they find themselves now. For instance, they're still looking for a manager. These questions that we want our fellow to be answering, they haven't even got the first one, which is who it is. And to me, that's why, I understand why a few people, when Slot was, when he confirmed himself, and then when Jurgen confirmed him, he isn't Xabi Alonso, and we all know that, but then Xabi Alonso's not available. That we've got him in and he can start the job, and we like the profile around what he's done at Feyenoord, you maybe want a bit more, you maybe want a bit more European stuff in there, you maybe want one or two more bits, but we've got him. And for me, this is the most important thing, Pete, is he gets to start, he gets to crack on. There's no question marks like there is for United, Chelsea and Brighton, for instance.
No, we know who our man is, and he will be for the next few years as well. It won't be a 12-month job, and it's like, he's not good enough and we're just going to throw him in the bin. I think when we're looking at the landscape now of Chelsea and Manchester United and clubs like that, where they're scrambling for managers in the Championship that I've never even heard of, that he might be brilliant.
My worry is we've got a fella who's got to a Conference League final, and I'm a bit like, I'd like him to have done a bit more in Europe.
And listen, I'm going to contradict myself now, but sometimes you should just go and get a manager. If you think they're the right person, then they're going to be the right person. But the thing with Arne Slot is what I'm impressed with so far, and I know quite a few Liverpool fans are not so much, because he's definitely not as humble as Jurgen Klopp. He doesn't seem to be that type of person, but don't you want someone to come in and own the gaff and actually follow this great man and say, you know what, I am the manager. Someone who's going to park in the manager spot, unlike Ole Gunnar Solskjaer a couple of years ago, he wouldn't park in Alex Ferguson's spot and things like that. So I just can't wait to see him. I can't wait to see the new Liverpool. I can't wait to see what's going to happen in pre-season, because we're so used to a Jurgen Klopp pre-season. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do in the transfer market, because we've seen very similar patterns. That for me personally, I've listened to a few shows this week, and there's been less emphasis by some people on a midfielder. For me, that's where you've got to strengthen. Get that someone like a Declan Rice in, and I think if he does get that number 6 and start controlling the midfield a bit more, and that's what I think with Jurgen Klopp over the last few years. And I'm not saying I ever wanted to get rid of Jurgen Klopp, but I'm seeing a different style possibly come in now, and that's what I was excited for about Xabi Alonso, is that I'd like to control the midfield more, and I'm hoping that's what Arne Slot's going to be doing.
Okay, we're about to argue about Trent Alexander-Arnold. I didn't see that coming, but that's what we're about to do with Emilia, but especially with Pete and Kev. Gird your loins, we'll be back in a second.
And Erdinger, please.
Stop! Don't forget the best bit.
Welcome back, welcome back. If you want Trent in midfield, come and look at this fella in a second. You want Trent in midfield.
I
You've
want
wanted Trent in midfield
midfield.
the longest time. Arne Slot plays 4-2-3-1.
Yep.
I presume you want Alexis McAllister in midfield. He's got to be in the 2.
Has he?
What, you want to play him off the front?
So I've been saying, for as long as I've been saying I want to see him in midfield, I've been saying I see a trajectory where he goes the Gareth Bale of obviously the opposite side, left back, left midfield, left forward. So 4-2-3, play him on the right of that 3 with Mo Salah in front of him. Come on. Tell me you don't want that.
I don't want that.
He's a man. He's a man. Why not? What does he lack in that position?
No, it's not about what he lacks, it's about what on earth do you replace. If you've got the best player in the world in the position that he's currently in, why do you move him into something else and replace him with someone worse than him?
Conor Bradley gets to play right back, and then Trent gets to do the work that he does going forward without the need to do the work going backwards.
I'm now arguing with you and come up
You signed the number 6 that Pete wants,
Do you know what I want?
and you allow him McAllister in there. Go on.
I think I want a wide player who's able to take people on and genuinely get to the byline. And that's not Trent Alexander-Arnold. I want a lad who can see who's got genuine lightning pace. I want someone who's going to pin people back and scare the life out of them. And I am genuinely surprised. You play him on the right-hand side of the 3.
I would happily play him on the right-hand side of the 3. And eventually, if it went back to 4-3-3, I'd happily play him on the right-hand side of the front 3 as well, as a progression. As for the midfield, I'd happily play him in a 2 in the midfield. And obviously, it always gets reduced down to, well, who's going in next to him? Well, there's a reason you have 6 midfielders, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I'm fine with that.
You never ever just have the 2.
What formation is he going to put?
Well, we don't know yet, but but he did play like 4-2-3-1. I've seen his 4-2-3-1 as well from some stats bomb stuff, and it's very 4-2-4. Like it's basically 4 forwards at times, and so I don't think that's why I can't see McAllister in the 3. I think McAllister's in the 2. So I think if you're moving Trent, I think it's Trent and McAllister.
As the 2.
I'd be happy with that, but that's a perfect midfield 2 at home to everyone except Man City probably. So that's 19 games, and probably the perfect midfield 2 for half of your away games. You've got to take into account the physicality needs in certain games, whether that be top or bottom, by the way. Some of the bottom teams need that destroyer in midfield, don't you? You just the donkey work for other people. But the number 6 allows us to then be so fluid at what we need to do. Endo's done a good job, and listen, I slagged him off the other week when I had too many babies. It was very much an emotional reaction to a terrible game that we played.
Which game was that?
The Atalanta one. But to be fair, I gave absolutely everyone down the bank. I'd probably give Trent's as well if I look back on it. But if you can sign a Declan Rice down midfielder, and then we've got an absolute plethora of other midfielders that can play in the other role with him, you could have. There's a way where's a Bosler can play there. I wouldn't necessarily want to see that.
He's done it a few times though, hasn't he?
Yeah, but I will personally prefer him further forward. McAllister, I think he's so good that he can play in any position. So he would suit the 2. But again, I'm probably only want him a little bit further forward. And obviously the 4-2-3-1.
I'm a little bit further forward the way the Etihad say. You know what I mean? But not like 95% of games. If you buy the 6, you want to say you want to get a big physical 6.
Yep.
So are you keeping Trent at right back, or are you moving into midfield?
Well, first of all, Arne Slot's got to answer that question, hasn't he? I think Trent's got to answer that question. So the only problem I've got I agree with you, over the last 2 years, that for me, one of the saddest conversations I've had is moving a generational talent into a different position and then maybe not being as good. I don't think he wants to defend anymore. That's the problem. Yeah. And then for me, if he doesn't want to defend, he also does that in midfield. There was moments even against Wolves on Sunday when I think someone just took him on so easy at a right back, and I thought, you can't do that in midfield, never mind right back. He can't play as one of the 2 without someone really wanting to defend, and McAllister's done a great job and has been dominant at times since the turn of the year, especially. But I think in the Premier League you need someone with pace. I think you need someone with tenacity, and you need someone with a real engine.
But hasn't Trent Alexander-Arnold had that all the way through whilst he's played at right back until maybe the last 12 months?
Yeah, but I don't think he's naturally, it's like Jamie Carragher's pointed out for years and years and years, he doesn't love defending. He doesn't anticipate. I said it a few weeks ago, some of Liverpool's biggest strengths is the biggest weakness. You look at Alisson Becker, you look at Virgil van Dijk, and you look at Trent, 3 of the back 5 are too calm. And I think he needs someone who anticipates danger. For me, listen, I know it's harp on about the past, but the perfect player to bring in is someone like Mascherano. Someone like him reads the game, he's tenacious and he's all over the place, and that's why I keep referring to Declan Rice. And we spoke about him over the last couple of years, and we about bringing who's potentially linked with Liverpool. Is he the greatest player in the world? Is he the greatest midfielder? No, he's certainly not. But look what he's done for Arsenal, and look what a player like him can transform Liverpool. Because then, if you have players like McAllister further forward, or you have McAllister next to him, or Trent next to him, they can play the balls that we want them to play. But I think Trent has to go midfield, and you have to sign a right back. And I think McAllister just goes further forward. That's my answer. But I can see.
McAllister off a front man.
I just think further forward. I think it'll just work.
4-2-3-1 becomes 4-3-3 very easily if you've got someone as good as McAllister. Yeah, if you've got someone as good as McAllister, because to say put him off a front man, everyone would go, but it doesn't necessarily have to be on the shoulder of the front man. It can be the drop deep role, playing the conductor of the orchestra almost, where he's the one putting those passes through for your lightning quick right winger to come in behind his man, cut it back to Salah to then bang it in, or any sort of variation on that, isn't it? So McAllister's role in the team, because we've seen him play the six so well and we've seen him play further forward so well, I think it is quite fluid. But I think the fact Arne Slot might be married to a 4-2-3-1 with no disrespect to the final play.
Theoretically before he got here.
But also you're married to whatever formula works with the players that you've got, aren't you?
Yeah.
So if you've got a player like McAllister who makes you go, actually, well then you're much more likely to go, boys, just for the next 5 or the next 10, just slide into this for me and let's see what happens. And we can always just slide it back if it doesn't. But the quality of player like McAllister allows a manager like Arne Slot, who's probably never had that before, to make those decisions and maybe not be quite as wedded to the system.
He needs a clear style coming in, and I'm sure he's got his own mind. He's got his own mind made up, hasn't he, already? But he needs to adapt to the players, like what you just said, Kev, because I remember Brendan Rodgers coming in and he didn't really like Luis Suarez at one point, and I think how crazy would
Bobby
that be?
Firmino, right wing back.
Yeah, Bobby Firmino was playing on the left-hand side when Klopp first came in and he moved him centrally. I never thought Bobby Firmino would ever work, and all of it suddenly it did. So I think you might see certain players in the team adjust the positions slightly. Diaz possibly more central. I always think he plays better when he's more central. He plays better when he's on the right rather than on the left.
There's something about it, Emilia, where it's also a collaborative process. And what I mean by this is where a manager gets to speak to the footballers and find out what they want to do. I don't think it's as simple as, I think it's important he has his way of doing things, his principles, and he's got to stick to them. But he's also got to be able to communicate with his players and say, well, what is it that how do you see yourself moving forward? It's not as straightforward as we just slot them all in. You have the conversation.
Yeah, and I think we've only spoken about it in terms of where we'd move players that we already know that we've got. But I'd like to think there's going to be other unknown factors that are coming into this that potentially change all of it anyway. Because the conversations we've had are completely about how you rearrange the known factors, but you throw in someone else that maybe just completely changes it all anyway and wouldn't fit into an existing model or what we think the new model will be. I think mainly I'm just trying to see it all as a positive thing, because I find change very, like when you're all talking about it, I'm going, it sounds so different.
I've been having the exact same conversation with myself though. Like, obviously, I just love Klopp to just stay, because we all will, because it's like a lovely comfort blanket and we know that it works. And even when it doesn't work, we don't mind it because we love him so much.
And we know what it looks like when it doesn't work.
Exactly. Whereas with Slot, I don't even think I'm talking myself. I'm genuinely excited to see this new era coming to.
It's a coping mechanism.
Well, it might well be, but also
I can't wait for pre-season. I can't wait to see the way he's got them lines up.
Yeah, honestly, that's exactly the way I am with it, and I think that's probably the way most people are. Like initially when Klopp said he was going, obviously the world was caving in and we were never going to win a game again and all that. But you then realise, actually, there's only probably Klopp and Guardiola and probably Ancelotti who have got that sort of majesty about them. The rest of them are not much of a muchness, and I'm not down and slot with any sort of thing praise like that. But the rest of them, who are the ones you're most up against, there's got to be someone out there who goes, listen, I'm good, I really am, and I think that's why Liverpool go with the numbers-based approach, because, again, he's coming from a team.
Just on this though, because you and me talk to people, Christ, you talk to everyone. I like that what you just said there, because everyone I'm speaking to now genuinely is looking forward to it. Yeah. And I know it's a little teeny bit about how our season ended, if we're honest.
Yeah.
It's also, and we're not being rude there, are we? No. It's a little teeny bit about how our season ended. But I think also everyone's just gone, yeah, all right. Yeah. And I think that obviously the manager helps last Sunday when he talked about it as well. Yeah. Everyone I speak to is very, can't wait for this, really intrigued by it.
I think one of the things is, it may be the last time we ever get a situation where a manager leaves out of the front door. Genuinely, we may never see this again in our lifetimes. because it's the first time I've ever seen it really, where a manager got out to the front door with everyone saying, well, I wish you weren't going, but best of luck towards it, and he's leaving us with a really solid base. Even in terms of the younger players, like we're talking about number 6, but what if Batic comes in and is like an absolute monster because he looks like one now, the size of him that he's put on for the last 12 months. So there's so many, like, you can talk yourself into any sort of positivity. I really can at the rest of the time. But with the new fella coming in, and you can look at his previous record and the players we've got, you'd have to be in a dark mind frame to be saying loads of rubbish, and I can't believe any of this.
I think what it is, Neil, as well, the phrase he's reminded us who we are, I don't think it's strictly true. I think for a certain generation, so for my generation, I knew who we were. We're Liverpool Football Club, we're one of the best clubs in the world, one of the biggest clubs in the world. But for that younger generation, they needed reminding who Liverpool were. And I think collectively now, we're all excited to see what's next, and I think that we all believe that there could be something brilliant next as well.
You excited?
I am excited. You know, he could, in that leaving speech that none of you could hear in the ground, so it was a real benefit of watching it at home with no atmosphere, was, with my mum. He could have said anything and I would have gone, yeah, you're right, Jurgen, but I think when he said about it not feeling like an end and it feeling like a beginning, because he looks at a squad that has so much potential, so much youth, so much power, that it's about what's coming. I do think that's the case. It doesn't mean you're not sad about what's gone, but you can still be excited about what's coming. I just hate change. I hate change, but I'm ready to embrace it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, go on then.
It's been the Friday night, it's been in Nova Scotia, it's been with Erdinger. I've really enjoyed this. Trust the people, that's the way it's going to work.